What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another live episode of The Madness brought to you by thepaintedlines.com. We thank you all for joining us tonight. If you're watching us on YouTube, Facebook, make sure you're subscribing and checking us out over The Painted Lines. Tonight is a special night, though. About a year ago, we had this man on. Actually, about a year ago, we were doing shots of tequila in a parking lot with this man to open up an Eagles season. Unfortunately, it's not going to happen that way this year. But the legendary offensive tackle himself, Trey Thomas, joins the madness. Trey, welcome back. Thanks for being with us.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. Good to be here.
All right, well let's get right into some Eagles talk. The season is right around the corner, which is crazy to think when you don't have preseason games. It kind of just sneaks up on us. But I'm going to go right to your favorite place, and that's that offensive line. Andre Dillard gets hurt. Well, first Brandon Brooks gets hurt. Jason Peters comes in. Andre Dillard gets hurt. Jason Peters is asking for more money. So my two questions for you are, first of all, how hard of a move to right guard was it for Jason Peters? And secondly, as someone who played the left tackle position, is he justified in this asking for a raise to go play a more premium position?
Okay, so let's start with the first part. So how hard is it? So are you left-handed or right-handed?
I'm left-handed.
Okay, so do you write it all with your right hand?
No, I do not.
Okay, so see, it's extremely difficult when you have to the muscle memory that just has to happen when you're saying that. All right, he's been in a left-handed stance for what, about 15 years now. He hasn't been in a right-handed stance since his rookie year. So, other than a couple of times where they might go unbalanced every now and then, other than that, he's been on the left side. So the muscle memory that has to happen, it doesn't happen in just a couple weeks. It's extremely difficult to just switch sides like that unless you're someone that's going to be the swing player anyway. So you're going to be that guy that'll work left, you'll go right in practice, you'll mix and match a lot. But most of the time, Lane Johnson doesn't go over and work left tackle in practice. That doesn't happen. You always stay to your side and you just take it from there. But, when you're making a switch like that, the work that it has to happen for him to be, to feel comfortable again is a lot. He hasn't done a lot of one-on-one pass pros. You're not really going that hard in practice or challenging him in practice like he needs to get ready for these games. And you don't have any preseason games to kind of see where you are, so you're kind of going from, all right, I'm doing these little practices that, it might be physical one day, but then you're in shorts the next day, to going full tilt against a damn defensive front. These first 5 games that they have to go up against is no joke for this offensive line. So, to make that switch, I commend him on just saying, all right, you know what, I'll give it a shot, but that's to his pay. This is the price of, this is the business of sports. I get it when he says, look, you know what, you want me to be the starting left tackle? Well, I need to be paid like a starting left tackle, not $3 million when you're the 34th. When you look at the other tackles' pay, he would be like the 31st tackle, you know what I'm saying, with the pay rate. So, when you're talking about a future Hall of Famer, a first ballot Hall of Famer, I get it where people say, hey, you signed a contract, but damn that, you want me to start? All right, well, I need to get I need a little pay raise for me to step over there and be the starting left tackle.
So do you think that he will move over to left tackle, or will they put Jack Driscoll in there? Will they do something else? And, or will they keep him at right guard since he's been there and not to have to deal with a salary thing? Like, what, if you were them, what would you be doing right now, especially with the fact that Lane Johnson's still kind of banged up right now, and obviously, Brandon tore his Achilles, and Dillard's out for the year, and, the left side of the line wasn't, doing that great from the videos and from the live footage and things that we had seen up to this point in practice. It seemed like every day there was another defensive end that was, pancaking the left side of the offensive line. So do they move JP over there for a little bit more assurance and a little more confidence, or do they try to get one of these other young guys involved?
You know what? I would put it like this here, and they just had this practice where the first practice that they had was, when they moved Matt Pryor over there. And I love Matt Pryor. I think Matt Pryor is definitely their starting right guard. He's not a tackle. He's not someone, you know, you could tell that he's a lot more comfortable being on the right side. He played on the right side in college. You could tell from how he moves and his hand placement and everything when he's on the right side is totally different. But when you put him over there on the left side, and some of the reports that were said that Josh Sweat's jersey should be hung in Canton after the practice. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, he had a day where you go out there and you give up 13, 14 sacks throughout that practice. I mean, twice that was reported in 2 of their live scrimmages that happened. You know, so the one practice that Wentz actually practicing, and then the second one they pulled him out just because, I mean, it was just so nasty. They knew what was going to happen. So I kind of take that back to when I didn't play against the Giants that one year and they put Winston Justice out there. You know what that got me? An extra year on my contract. Because he went out there and gave up 5, 6 sacks in that game. Everybody thinks that you can just get out there on that island. It's not easy to get over there and play that position and to be out there on that island. I think Matt Pryor, yeah, you get the reps, you'll probably get you're going to get better at it. But man, you got a $100 million man behind you that, you know, I mean, these first couple games, your first 5 games, you're going up against 4 top 10 pass rushing defenses. I mean, you know, Washington have 40-something sacks. You have the Rams. You have, you start with Washington, and then you got the Rams coming to town, and then you got the Cincinnati Bengals. You're probably, you know, I feel comfortable about that. But then you come back and you have the 49ers, and then you have the Steelers, who were #1 in sacks last year with 50-something sacks. I mean, this is not something to play with. When you go back and you look at Carson Wentz, when he came back in 2018 after his knee surgery, and he had to have back surgery, in his first 4 games, he was sacked 13 times, hit 32. I mean, you know, you don't want to sit up there and play around like that when you have a $100 million man behind you.
So Trey, what do you think is their best move at this point from what you know about the guys? I mean, that it's a bad situation that they're in. I mean, you know, now it's like moving on from Big V. It's like, maybe you should have thought about it a little more. But what would you do with the guys that are in that building right now?
Go ahead and give JP that pay bump. Go ahead and swallow your pride. Give him the pay bump. And let's go ahead. You got to put your best 5 out there in the best situation. You have your best 5 out there, but you have your right guard playing left tackle and your left tackle playing right guard. I mean, you know, let's stop playing around. You know, you only have a couple more days. And then you say, all right, you know what, the chemistry that has to happen between guard and tackle, it has to be kind of like a brothers. You know, like when Todd and I would play together and all the guards that I played with, we had a good rapport just because of all the work that we did put in throughout the week, that we kind of knew where the other was going to be. You're not having that because Lane hasn't practiced in the last, a week or so? So how are you developing that chemistry that needs to happen for you to go out there and go to work? I mean, who knows? You're going to get games. You're going to get all kind of stunts. You don't know how the other is going to react. And now that you're getting into the in-season mode, I mean, with the way injuries are going right now, I mean, you know, you're not going to be challenged on the practice field like you need to get ready for these games.
So, but then on the flip side of that, there's another part of it that, you know, we hope this was the year that Andre Dillard was also going to take that step forward and be able to kind of take over that left tackle spot. And, you know, we saw some good things from him last year at the left tackle position, but now obviously missing the season. What does this do for his development, and where does this set him back, and how does this set him back in terms of being able to actually finally, you know, move on from a Jason Peters, who, like you said, first ballot Hall of Famer. I mean, what he's done here has been unbelievable. But, you know, they used a first-round pick on Dillard. You expect him to be your starting left tackle. How far does this set him back in missing this whole season?
I mean, you know, yeah, it's going to be tough for him just because, I mean, you're going to have to sit out the season. You're done for the season. So now you get another year to develop, kind of watch and see what's going on. You know, I don't know if they're going to bring JP back for another year. Who knows how this is going to play out? But at least he has another year to kind of take some time, get himself together, study the game a little bit more, become a little bit more comfortable with the system. And then you just take it from there. I mean, you can only wait until once the season's over with to see how it's going to play out. But, I mean, for him to come back, I knew that bringing JP back put a lot of pressure on him. You know, when you know that, all right, you know what, I have a first ballot Hall of Famer. You could say all you want that, hey, I'm that guy, I feel comfortable, this and that. But the first time I hear about you getting beat, you're slapping your helmet, that's unnecessary pressure that's going on and that you're dealing with. And then now you go out there and you tear a bicep because who knows what the hell was going on. But I mean, it's just and then that's the game of football. Sometimes you're just going to get hurt. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, but I think it's just tough for him just because, he started coming around, and then they put him out there against the Rams at right tackle, which I felt like was just, I don't know who the hell idea that was, even though it wasn't that bad. When you go back and you look at the film, he did some good things out there, but for you to take a person that's never been on the right side, never been on the right side, and only had a couple days of work and say, hey man, go on out there and give it a shot. Go see what you can do. And then pull him at halftime, but I'm still a little pissed off about that.
That's all right. We love the fire. So we're talking with Trey Thomas. So Trey, I feel like every day I'm waiting for something on Twitter to tell me which Eagle is now hurt for another couple weeks. And it might be like this all over the league, and we're just not paying attention to it as much. Do you believe these injuries are because this has not been your normal offseason with training and the mini camps and all that? Or is it something in this locker room? Like, what is going on with all these injuries?
Well, from what I've been seeing around the league, you've been having a lot of injuries. Just period. Guys are going down left and right with a lot of different injuries. But I do think that because of this being just a totally different offseason where guys are just out there, you're putting on muscle, you're getting strong, but you're not really doing any football drills. So you haven't gone through any OTAs. You haven't gone through any mini camps. You haven't done any of that. So now you go from, just sitting in there building up the mirror muscles to now you got to go out there and actually put it to work. And, you're going to put yourself in a bad situation sometimes when you go from just running on a treadmill and running straight lines to now you have to get out there and you have guys pushing on you, pulling on you, things are going to happen. And I think that this is just, the byproduct of not having a traditional off season and no preseasons to even go out there and show what you can do, or you don't even know what you can do really. I feel bad for the guys that just got cut because you haven't even had a chance to show what you can really do on film. So how are other teams going to evaluate you?
Yeah.
Because no one's giving up practice film. That is not happening.
No. And one of the spots that, we were hoping this year was going to be another strong spot was the defensive line. And that's because they brought some guys that they had last year back. But now that's, where they have a long list of injuries. Javon Hargrave's hurt. Vinny Curry's hurt. Hassan Ridgeway's hurt. Jannard Avery's hurt. What is your confidence level in that side of the line at this point with all the injuries they have? And, they're losing some rotational guys that are you hope is what Jim Schwartz likes to do, to keep those guys fresh and rotating in and out. That's why they had so much success in 2017. But has anybody stood out to you? Last year was supposed to be a year that Josh Sweat was supposed to take that next step, fill into a role. What about Sharif Miller? How's he looked? What are we thinking in terms of who can step up in the absence of some of these other guys?
Who knows? Because we don't have any preseason games. Who knows? It's one thing to sit up there and say, hey, man, you went out there and had 7-8 sacks in practice. All right, but then how do these respond when you have an actual preseason game? So I have absolutely no idea what's going to happen. We're all just going to have to just sit here and wait and see how it plays out. We've been hearing that Josh Sweat has been making some noise out there in practice. I have been watching a lot of film on Josh Sweat. He seems like he has he was starting to come around towards the end of the season. I think I like the way he's built as a defensive end. So I know he can work some of those long arm techniques, come with a nice long arm bull rush. It's just and I like that the way Josh Sweat, he changes up his stance a lot. So he's not always a defensive end that's always going to line up with his inside foot back the way Brandon Graham and Barnett are all the time. They always get out there with their inside foot back. And the reason that I like a defensive end that changes up which way his foot is because they're always making contact in different places. You know what I'm saying? So you can attack differently if you can change your stance. If you always get out there with the same stance, then you're always going to make contact kind of at the same point.
Trey, one of the injuries that's upsetting a lot of fans is Jalen Reagor. I know a lot of people really want to see this kid. What does he have? Blazing speed. there's a little bit of contention during the draft because Justin Jefferson not trading up for CeeDee Lamb, whatnot. But the fact that he got hurt on a play where there was an interception and then he was making a tackle. One of our viewers put at Philly Fan PSU says, should have been dead in the scrimmage once the defense gets a turnover. No need for a wide receiver to be out there tackling. I'm curious, you as a player, what you feel about that.
It's football. When it's a live drill, it's a live drill. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, come on, man. I mean, that type of stuff happens all the time in this game. I mean, to me, it was a live drill. So, I mean, you get hurt, you get hurt. I mean, next man, I'm the wrong person when it comes to talking about stuff like that. So, you see these balls behind me. So, like I'm not one of these ones like, oh my God, he shouldn't have, man. Damn that. We play football. That's what you do. And if it's a live drill, you go out there, you're supposed to do what you do. I mean, you got hurt. All right, move on to the next thing. It is what it is.
So another big talking point, getting away from injuries for it's hard to get away from the injuries because there are so damn many of them. But another big talking point, so it came out today that the conversations between Ertz and the Eagles have stalled because they offered him less guaranteed money than they did when he turned down the offer in November. What is your take on that as a player, knowing what Zach has done, seeing what Zach has done, and not only that, but the rapport that he has with Carson Wentz? What is your take on that, but also what the organization has or has not done to put the best tools around Wentz for him to succeed? After paying him $100 million, and like we're talking about with the line and who's there and who's not, do you think that they have done the best things by him at this point and what's going on there?
I mean, when you look at this business, and one of the things that you cannot do as a player is take it personal, because this is the business of the game. I mean, it just is what it is. And especially when you have someone like a Dallas Goedert that's coming in there, they're always looking for younger and cheaper. So, that's what that is right there. I mean, you have Dallas Goedert that's coming in there that's some would say is right up there with Ertz. So, that's just the nature of this business. I mean, I think that he's going to have to possibly, of course you want to see your guys get taken care of and, for them to make the money, make the most that they can. But that's just the nature of this business. I mean, and they're offering less money than what they did in November. So that kind of shows you where they are with them. I mean, it just is what it is. This is the business of this game, and players can't take it personal. It is what it is. And I mean, someone, you go out there and play. How many years does he have left on his deal? What, 1 year?
Yeah, I think 1 year after this. I think next year he'd be playing in a lame duck situation.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. I mean, so if he goes out there and has another massive year, I mean, it'll take care of itself. But when you have Dallas in waiting, I think that this game is always about trying to get younger and cheaper, and that's just what it is.
Yeah, for a while there, I thought Matt Klentak took over the Eagles front office, and the way he's doing JT Realmuto dirty, I was like, wait a minute.
Mm-hmm.
But let's talk about the weapons on offense, right? It was clear last year that Carson Wentz was, really a valiant effort with a lot of third string practice squad guys. You thought the Eagles were going to get weapons. They drafted some young receivers. Did they do enough, though? Because when I look at their offense, I look at Deshaun Jackson, who, listen, he's a hell of a talent, but he's had trouble staying healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Alshon Jeffrey, we don't know how healthy he is, and we don't know where his mentality is this year. J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, you're hearing once again, like you said, Trey, good things out of camp, but there's no preseason to let us know how he's going to do when the lights are on. And then a bunch of rookie wide receivers. Have they done enough to build an offense that you need to be productive for this team to win?
I would have liked to have seen more some of these high caliber weapons coming in. When you had such a draft that had so many receivers in it, I would have liked to see more weapons on the offensive side of the ball. But you just gonna have to go to war with what you have. And then you didn't draft. I mean, you drafted. You got two young linemen. You didn't take care of your linebacker situation. So there were a lot of holes that when you came out of this draft, you felt like, wait a minute, this is it. But I would have liked to have seen a couple more weapons to kind of help Carson Wentz to be able to air it out a little bit more, because I mean, this is a passing league, so the better receivers that you can have out there, the more the merrier, I guess. But but then you look in your locker room and you say, all right, you know what, we're going to see who's going to come back ready to go. I mean, you've been hearing about JJ, going out there and showing out. It's one thing to show out when you're comfortable in the practice field, but how are you when the lights come on? So it's going to be interesting to see how he really bounces back. I'm glad to hear that he's kind of finding his confidence again. But we shall see. Once live rounds get out there and the red jerseys get taken off, and you really have to get after it.
So comparing them to some of the other teams in their division, and some of the other big name teams that are in the NFC now, because I mean the interesting thing that's going to be it's going to throw me off for at least the first 2 weeks is there were so many trades, there were so many different things moving around, and the AFC is one thing, but now Tom Brady and this dream team are in the NFC, and there's a lot of different things that have switched around a little bit. How do you see them and the Eagles and what they have done and addressed in the offseason and how they're coming back? How do you see them comparing to some of the other, not only, their division, which is, where it starts, but also in the bigger picture? How do you see them comparing to some of those bigger teams?
Well, when you go back and you look at, if you just take Tampa, for example, and you look at what Tom Brady's doing down there, breaking rules, practicing whenever he wants, going out there on the park when the park was supposed to be shut down, just doing Tom Brady stuff, and he's just doing his thing. And, that's a veteran team down there. I think that what you're going to see right now is I think that teams that have veterans on there and guys that know how to put in the work and go do their thing, they're going to be a little bit more successful than when the teams that have a bunch of younger players on there with some of these newer coaching staffs. I think that's going to play a big part of this, just because you might have new guys on the team, you have new terminology that's happening, and all of this is happening on the fly because you only had a couple weeks or months or so to kind of, you had virtual meetings, but you didn't have time to actually get out there on the field and do the walk through it the way you need to really get through it. So it's going to be interesting. I think that most of the teams that have more veterans are going to be able to shine a little bit, and whoever has better defenses are going to really show out, because defenses click way faster than offenses do usually, because defenses see ball, get ball, so they just go out there and go do their thing. Offense takes so much timing and spacing that has to happen, and that takes a little while at times. But I think that teams that have better defenses are going to be stronger, and guys that have a little bit more veteran presence on their teams.
Trey, you were kind of touching on this league-wide. In the NFC East, Doug Peterson is the only head coach that was with his team last year. How big of an advantage is that for the Eagles when it comes to continuity with the players, coach, and what the players know their coach expects out of them?
Well, it started out pretty good. It started out pretty good just because you had everybody was talking the same language. Everybody knew where they were supposed to be. Guys have, you have a young crop of guys that's coming in. You're not really dependent on them to come in and really make any noise. They're just going to be extra pieces to the puzzle. But when you have breakdowns on your offensive line like the way we have, that's concerning. It's good to have that coaching staff that's been together and everybody knows the playbook and everybody is talking the same language already. But when you have breakdowns and all these injuries within the team and just all this turmoil in the locker room, it creates a different environment. The advantage that you used to have is slipping away right now.
Hey, Trey, before I let you go, I know that Deuce Staley is a former teammate of yours, and I'm curious what your thoughts on about when this guy can get the respect around the league to possibly get a head coaching position. And, just the league in general, I think this has been widely talked about, has failed when it comes to hiring minority candidates or even interviewing them for that point. What do they need to do to change this whole atmosphere that surrounds the NFL?
I mean, I don't know, man. It's definitely something that needs to happen. I think Deuce is definitely going to get his shot And you know, it takes everybody to start talking about it, and once you put it in their face, and now I think that you're going to start seeing different. You're going to start seeing changes. Like I was just out in Kansas City with Big Red and his staff, and just hanging out with Eric Bieniemy and Greg Lewis. You know, guys that I know. Eric Bieniemy, he's going to be getting the opportunity as well. So I think that you're going to see that starting to change now. You know, this with everything that's going on, with all the social issues, it's just putting it in the owners' faces right now that I think that this change is definitely going to be coming within the next couple of years.
Trey Thomas, we appreciate your time, man. Why don't you tell everybody, what are you doing with yourself? Where can we find you? You're just tweeting at you, or what's the deal right now?
I'm just chilling, man. I'm working on my golf handicap right now. I go paint. I pop open a bottle of wine and paint at my studio at Pino's Palette, Cherry Hill. And then today is actually me and my wife and I's 21st anniversary. So, you know.
Happy anniversary.
Yeah. So, you know, we've been married for 21 years now.
Good stuff, man. I had 7
21 years. It's been awesome, you know.
I'm at 7, so I got 2 more touchdowns to reach you at this point.
Yeah, 21 years, man. It's been 21 years.
Oh man,
but it's been awesome. Been good times.
Well, listen, Trey, we love you, man. Thank you so much for hopping on with us, and we'll have you on during the season, hopefully to talk some positive football stuff here.
All right, man. Appreciate it, man. Y'all take care. Have a good one.
All right, Trey, take it easy.
All right, now.
All right, that is Trey Thomas joining us. All right, as always, he's fiery right now.
I love Trey.
Trey is fiery. He's not. Let me put it to you this way. I was hoping that he would talk me back a little bit off the ledge because I don't have high expectations right now. It didn't do that for me. Trey does not seem very enthused right now.
I mean, he's kind of where I am. That's like kind of where I've been. Like as I've watched this kind of unfold through training camp, I get more and more discouraged with every injury. And I'm at the point now where I'm like, okay, the left side of our offensive line doesn't exist. Our right tackle has not practiced in multiple weeks. Dallas Goedert is still hurt. Zach Ertz is going to be angry. They just brought in another new tight end. They released Josh Perkins. Or he got hurt. I'm sorry. That's what happened. He got hurt.
All those young running backs that one of them was supposed to make the roster. They all got released.
Yeah, they both got cut today. Miles Sanders is hurt. Carson Wentz is hurt. Half of the defensive line is hurt. Will Parks is out for 6 weeks minimum. I mean, like, it's not ideal. We're at a very not ideal place currently.
No, we're not. So we were getting a lot of comments, and I didn't want to flash them on the screen because the way our screen is set up, it would have just blocked Trey's face. So I figured we go back and just kind of go through some of these comments. One coming from one of our fearless leaders, Mr. Crockpot here at TPL, that he is terrified how the Eagles offensive line handles Washington. I agree. Like, you go into that game and you think, all right, it's Washington, new coach, but their front four is really good. And I can't say that the Eagles offensive line is really good at this point. And that can win or lose a game for them.
Yes.
Yes. And Chris follows that up with, if Carson gets injured week 1, there will be hell to pay. If he gets injured week 1, COVID-19 not only like quarantined us forever, it ruined our sports here because right now the Flyers are 20 minutes away from elimination. They're down 4-3 with it giving up a goal with 30 seconds to go in the second period. The Sixers, we saw that. The Phillies seem to be bouncing back, but I'm just waiting for the negativity to roll back in and them to fall apart. And then Carson, if he got hurt on week 1, it's par for the course.
I don't think there's enough alcohol in the world for me if Carson Wentz. I mean, let's be real. All of Philadelphia, if Carson Wentz, God forbid, were to get hurt week 1 because our line is a freaking mess.
And all we have waited for, right, from the beginning from March, when the quarantine hit and everything, and we weren't sure if the first sport back was going to be the NFL. We couldn't wait. If if a week from Sunday we're sitting there and we have to just drop our heads in sadness, I fear for the health physically and mentally of the city of Philadelphia and the tri-state area, as I am a part of that tri-state area.
My mental health will deteriorate rapidly if the Eagles don't. I don't know. I
know.
I can't even think about it. Positive thoughts only.
It's gone. By the way, when we started the show, I was a little flustered because our guest was already here. That's Jessica Town, and I'm Rob Landry. I realized I never said our names.
Okay, they're right here.
There's our Twitter handles and our names. They're right there.
I got the right one here this time. That's the correct one.
That's the actual one. So if you tried to follow her last week, it didn't work because it's not real.
Or it is. It's 13. That was all. It was just the numbers. I just put Run This Town. I forgot the numbers. That
people were very confused. Probably it was probably some random person, and they were like, "That's not the girl I was watching on the Madness on the Pain and Lions."
That person that actually exists.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about a couple other things now. Trey, and I'm not surprised that Trey took the stance that JP should get paid. To go play left tackle, right? I mean, he was a left tackle himself. He played in the league. Players fraternity, all that stuff. Here's what Philly fan PSU had to say. I get what Trey's saying, but he almost was out for 2 years and was still paid $18 million a year. He went on to say he made over $100 million. I don't know how I feel about the whole issue. It's one of those things where, to me, and Trey kind of brought this up when we asked about switching the right guard. To me, if I was Jason Peters, I say I spent all this time trying to learn this position because this is where you needed me. And now, just like that, I got to go back over there. That, I don't know, Jess. Do you think that they should just pay him?
Yes. Because I think about it. JP wanted to finish his career here. He turned down less money in other places to come here and to play a position that he's never played before. You know what I mean? At 38 years old, he turned down money to come here on the cheap to learn a new position because he wanted to be here. So now he spent all this time working on that again at his age and is like, yo, if you're going to put me back over there on that side, I don't think he's asking for to get up to that 18 and asking for a 15 mil.
I would like to know a number before I make an opinion on this.
I would have to assume, I feel like I would like to assume he's asking for it'll still be under 10. Just a couple extra, toss a couple extra mil in there. I would love to be able to just ask somebody to toss a couple extra mil in for me.
I would like to be able to ask someone to toss a couple hundred extra in my paycheck.
Yeah. For sure. But I don't know. But I think Trey does have a point. You see how that position is just crucial. And regardless of something just fell.
Yeah.
Regardless of what everyone likes to make fun of the false starts and the holdings and this, that, and the other thing. But at the end of the day, he does a pretty damn good job of protecting Carson Wentz. And the false starts, yeah, they're annoying. But also at the end of the day, I'd rather him hold the hell out of a guy than let Carson take a helmet to the kneecap. You know what I mean? So I would prefer they kind of just pay him because Trey's right. It doesn't make sense having a guy who's a right guard play left tackle and the left tackle playing right guard when it's right in front of you. Right. Don't be annoying, swallow your pride, and just freaking do what's best for the team. You're already being a pain in the ass with the Zach Ertz thing. And he's been the guy. I mean, he's been the guy for the last 5 years for Carson. Zach Ertz is one of the more durable players on this team. He, by the way, in case anyone forgot, played a game last year with a lacerated kidney because he put the team before himself, internal bleeding, and it was yeah, let me go play some more football. Pay the guy. For the love of God, pay the guy. It's not come on, seriously. And Goddard's hurt. I get getting younger, drafting Goddard. He's hurt.
Mm-hmm. Mhm.
He has a fracture in his thumb.
Yes.
Hurt.
And by the way, $3,200 a year for an NFL player ain't getting them out of bed. That's $3,200 a year or a year. For me, hell yeah. Hey, let's go. I'm all in. I'll go play
You'll
whatever
go play
position
left
you want.
tackle?
Yeah, I'll go play left tackle. I don't care. $3,200.
There you go.
Whatever. Here's the other thing. You brought up the Zach Ertz thing, and I get that it's a business, but let's talk, right? Everyone who wanted Jalen Reagor to be the pick, including my man Dives, who, if he's still listening, is definitely going to comment on this, okay, said not to draft Justin Jefferson because you have Goddard and Ertz, and they run that slot-esque position. Okay, so you've made this call. So now you're going to get stingy on the guy that fills a position that will become a huge glaring need if you just let him walk. Like, you need 2 tight ends in this offense because of the way you've built your outside receivers.
And let's be clear, 2 good tight ends, not
Yeah.
just 22 people that you're like, you're a tight end. No,
Right.
2 good tight ends.
Right. And to me, look, I don't understand what's going on in the water in the front offices of Philadelphia teams. I don't know what the hell the Phillies are doing with JT Realmuto. And I don't understand why the Eagles are not just making this a very – how did that not go in? Sorry. If you see us, like, distracted, we both are obviously watching Game 6 of the Flyers. They're on a power play again, which means that they're probably going to give up a goal rather than score one. But this is a power play. They're down 1. There's 15 minutes to go. Hopefully you hear cheers from us here in the next minute and 11 seconds. Probably not. I don't know what they're doing. Anyway, back to our Eagles conversation. I just don't understand why you want to create more problems in one of the few positions of strength you have on this team right now.
Right. Like, you have
the strength.
Right. You have enough positions that are question marks with issues. Linebacker. Now the offensive line is very questionable. You have 1 running back now because
that makes more sense.
You let the rest of them go. I mean, I get it. You still have Corey Clement. I like Corey, and I want him to get back to that Super Bowl self of his. And we saw what Boston Scott could do last year. But, I mean, keep in mind, Corey. Yeah, but you're putting a lot on that, which is essentially what you did with Corey Clement after the Super Bowl year.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you put a lot on that, and it's the same thing you did with a Josh Adams, and that didn't work out. So, and without their number 1 draft pick in Jalen Reagor, I mean,
yeah,
you have so many positions that are question marks, or that are once again at the end of the season going to be a giant hole for you. So why would you create more issues? Like, especially in a time when when so many conversations are about the Wentz is always hurt. When is Wentz going to win a playoff game? When is this and when it's that? And why would you take away his most reliable and favorite weapon? Like, that is the dumbest thought process to me. Like, dumbest.
I agree with you 100%. And by the way, Philly fan PSU has explained it better. He meant $3.2 million. The problem was, listen, English teacher here. Ready? Here's an English lesson. Watch your commas. That says 3,200 right there. That does not say 3.2 million. Watch your commas, everyone. That's an English. That's an English and math lesson for you.
That doesn't have anything to do with a comma. He straight up typed the wrong number. Well, there were extra zeros in the other one.
Giving people the benefit of the doubt. All right. And our man Dives, who is the true number 1 Reagor fan, maybe of all time, and the guy hasn't even played a snap yet, says with Will Reagor.
Malley is the number 1 Jalen Reagor fan. From Chris Malley from 4th and John is the biggest Jalen Reagor fan that I have seen to date.
I did a show prior to the draft with Mr. Crockpot and Chris Malley, and it was like I was like the pong ball in the old Atari game, going back and forth as I was saying no and just getting tossed back and forth about it. And as I've said, I hope I'm wrong. But as Chris says, with no regular, the Eagles going to run the 2 tight end sets to death in week 1. And that's kind of our point. Is that you're going to do this. You're going to put all this on Zach Ertz. And you know what? Like, the fact that you offered him less money than you did prior, to me, is just disgraceful. And it's just wrong. It's just wrong.
It doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. Like, and especially, like, I don't know what they thought they were going to accomplish after Kittle and Kelsey both got their deals, and then they're going to offer Ertz less money. Like, where did you think that was going to get you?
Yeah.
Did you think that was going to be helpful? Seriously?
Well, Trey said it. It kind of tells you where they stand with this, which tells me you're about to watch Zach Ertz's last year, most likely. Like, I agree. I'm just saying, have they internally already made that decision? We can't sink that much money into a tight end position. Which my response is this: if you've made that decision, then what are you going to do to make up for the production? Because you don't have it right now.
They're going to bring Brent Selleck out of retirement.
Yeah.
At this point, like, that's essential. Like, that or the equivalent is what they're going to do. That's how they're going to try to replace Zach Ertz. And it's, by the way, not going to go well.
No, it's not going to go well.
So
obviously, Jess, when we got to think about next week's show because the NFL is kicking off that night. So I don't know if we want to do it earlier as like a lead-in, or do we just say, hey, let's do it and give some updates during the game? We'll figure it out. You know what I mean? We'll see what happens. But what that means is next week's show is our season preview. Obviously, the quarantine has screwed us up, Jess. We've always done like every week.
I thought about that the other day, and I was like,
Oh, I did too. And I was like, well, I think part of it was, when training camp started, it wasn't like a typical training camp.
right.
Then preseason games. And then, we asked Trey a bunch of questions, and he's not giving us the easy answer out by saying, I don't know. The truth is we just don't know. And it would have been hard to make these predictions about these teams based off of training camp practices and stuff like that. So I think what we'll have to do is take our 8 shows or 16 shows that we've done in the past, condense it into one, and just break down the entire NFL and have fun with it.
And also, I can't remember who's on what team anymore because the entire NFL has been turned upside down.
Yeah. Leonard Fournette is a Buccaneer.
He's irrelevant.
He's
He's like the most irrelevant person in that category. I was like, the fact that like Tom Brady's a Buccaneer, Cam Newton is the quarterback of the Patriots, Teddy Bridgewater is in Carolina.
Yep.
I mean, they're just things all over the place. Phillip Rivers is in friggin' Indianapolis. DeAndre Hopkins is not a Texan. I mean, there are just too many things.
It's not a Cardinal.
Yeah, there are just too many things for me to keep track. Like, it's been wild.
Yeah, it's been a crazy offseason, and it's almost like it slipped under the radar because of everybody kind of being set to Zoom. It's like, like I could tell you that I haven't watched press conferences as much as I had in the past. Mm-hmm. And it's not because, Zoom's a terrible thing. It's just, we've all been worrying about everything going on in the outside world around us. It just, I said to someone the other day, because they talked about, oh my God, I've missed sports. I said, I have too, but it hasn't been on my mind as consistently because there's so much other stuff happening that I feel like is taking our focus away.
For sure.
And that's kind of where it's just so everything's weird. Like the NBA is in the conference finals right now in September, right? The draft and free agency are in October. They're probably not going to start the season till December. It's just like everything is so crazy to me. Like maybe that's why as I'm watching the Flyers and there's 11 minutes left in this game and things are starting to trend downward towards a end of the season, I'm not like I would be if it was April and it was the end of a season when things were normal. Like it's almost like watching the Flyers play the last month has been a bonus because we lost it for so many months. Same thing.
We also lost watching the Flyers play postseason hockey for
years.
Some years.
That I knew it had been a while since they won a first round series, But the fact that it was 2000 and what was it, 2012, the last time they won before this year, like I had no idea it had been 8 years. Like I wasn't married yet. I have 3 children. 2 of them for kindergarten in 4 days.
I hadn't graduated high school yet.
Oh, Jesus. Jess. Well, oh, here we go. Breakaway. Score! Woohoo!
You're ahead of me. I haven't seen it happen yet.
Sorry.
So rude. Yeah, there it is.
Wait a minute. I assume we're not watching cable. Like, what the hell are you watching on?
Oh, I'm on. We have one cable box, and the thing in here is a Roku TV, John. I don't know.
That's what. See, you should have told me you were on Roku.
I'm in Joe's gaming room. This is where we have our desk set up. This will be his classroom for the foreseeable future. So.
Well, I'm just saying that if you told me you were on Roku, I would not have done that.
It's okay. It's fine. The important thing is the Flyers scored, and now this game is tied. And honestly, all the sports playing at the same time has really not done great things for me, like chewing my nails and chewing my cuticles.
Is it any surprise to you, Jess, that the Flyers scored within under a minute after I said things are trending toward their season?
No, say more things like that.
The Flyers are going to lose. The Flyers, you're done, man. You're not going to win. Score 3 more goals, please. All right. Let's move on from the NFL. Next week will be a full-out NFL show. We all know that's our bread and butter. Let's talk about some of the other teams in the city, not the Flyers, because we're just kind of talking to you as things happen live for us. This is why I like live streaming. This is why I like live streaming. Like this is fun to me.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's start with the Philadelphia Phillies, who I feel like many of us a few weeks ago might have written off, as you said, about the bullpen almost on a nightly basis. We might have fired the team.
Into the sun.
And all of a sudden, about 10 games ago, after losing, who did they get swept by? They got swept by, was it Atlanta? And it was ugly. And Bryce Harper came out and said, if we're going to make any move, and Girardi apparently said this to the team in a closed-door meeting, but Bryce said, if we're going to make any moves, we have to win, like, say, 9 of our next 10. Well, my friends, the Phillies, with today's extra inning win, have won 9 out of 10. I believe they're second place in the division. They are either a game out or tied for that second wild card spot. I don't know exactly where they are.
They're in 5th, I believe. They have the fifth best record in the National League behind the Dodgers, Braves, Padres, and Cubs. And they're 8 games behind the Dodgers.
Okay, so they're a game out of the second wild card then at this point? Or would they be in? Like how many? I'm so confused now. Is it 6 teams that make the playoffs now?
16.
So it's 8 on each side.
I think so.
They are in the playoffs. Okay, so Philly fan. By the way, Philly fan PSU, appreciate you hanging with us, man, because we're having some fun conversations with you. They're in the playoffs now since each top 2 teams make. Okay.
Yeah.
So they're doing it like almost in a way the hockey does it now, where the top 2 teams are in, and then you get the 2 wild cards, I guess, is I'll be honest, I'm not fully up on that rule. But
regardless, Aaron Nola is pitching like a monster.
Aaron
Wheeler are one of the best 1-2 punches in baseball in terms of ERA when they pitch 6 and 2/3 innings or more. And I mean,
and you know what's exciting?
I'm kind of weary on Wheeler. Remember?
Oh, I was very weary because of the injury, and was he able to get back to form? And I mean, he's just been dealing. Even in the games he hasn't won, he's been dealing. I mean, he's had, I think, one rough outing, I believe, probably this season, where he got lit up a little bit. And then you see things like Spencer Howard has pitched better every single game. Yeah. Zach Eflin has not killed you this year. I know he gave up runs today, but
that's about where he lives. Those 4 runs, like that's about what you're going to get from him.
Yeah, he's a 5th starter. Jake Arrieta has been hit or miss. He's had some nice performances. He's had some not nice performances. Which once again, I think that's where Jake Arrieta lives now. I think that's who he is as a pitcher anymore. Mm-hmm. But listen, the key is this. First of all, Rhys Hoskins has refound his form. He's hitting the ball well. Alec Boehm, just for a young kid, is just
so confident.
He's so confident. He's so disciplined to play. He hit a single today that I think drove in a run where the ball was low and outside, and he just waited on it, and turned. And I mean, just punched it out.
He had 3 hits today. He had 3 hits today, and the sac fly to win
the game. So things are going well there. But obviously, the biggest difference is, and listen, we have ripped Matt Klentak how many times? So let's give
my life.
I want him out of my life, but let's give slight credit where credit's due. He has brought in 3 bullpen arms. And where they haven't been exceptional, they've been way more serviceable than what was happening in that bullpen.
Mm-hmm.
Workman has, no pun intended, worked himself out of quite a few jams to get the saves. Phelps has only been here 2 games. He pitched really well last night. Gave up a home run today. Hembry is, like I said, not exceptional, but good. But you've also had some other guys pitch well. Was it Jojo Suarez? Is that his name? I thought
Romero.
Jojo. What is it?
Romero.
Romero.
JC Romero is who you're thinking of.
Okay. That's what happens when
it's Jojo Romero. Yeah.
There's only 3 weeks left in this season. This another great name here, Blake Parker. 10 innings, 0 runs. So, I mean,
he's been really good.
They are getting what they need to out of their bullpen right now. And it's translating. And it's translating while Bryce Harper is on a bit of a slide. He's still walking a lot. He's still getting on base. But I know you could tell he's frustrated. He had a couple big strikeouts today, and you could just see the way he walked back. He wasn't happy about it. But he's going to break out of that. So
right. But the other bats are coming alive as well. You're getting such good things, not only from Rhys Hoskins turning it around, but you're getting those crucial hits and things from guys like Andrew McCutchen, and guys are helping out in different spots. So it's not, Jay Bruce coming off the bench doing what he does. And it's they're putting up consistent runs again, which is not something that they could say last year. That was one of those things that was one of the issues. Like, Nola would have a great outing, only give up 1 run, and they couldn't win those games. They couldn't do what they needed to do to back up performances from their pitchers. But now they're not only doing what they need to do to back up performances from their best pitchers, they're doing what they need to do to back up their the Eflins of the world, who are going to give you 3-4 runs. That's just what's going to happen. But they're doing enough to win those games. And whether it be, simple winning those games and just continuing to fire, or, 10 innings and a sac fly at the end, whatever it is, they're winning.
They're doing the little things to plate. They're playing small ball. They're moving runners over. They're getting timely hits or timely sac flies. Stuff that wasn't happening earlier in the season or the last couple of years for that matter, they're starting to do now. As our man Prince Blue says, Bohm's a professional hitter. That's exactly what he is. The kid's the real deal. It's one of those times where I'm glad they didn't trade this prospect. I'm glad they hung on. 2-on-1. Oh boy. Okay. All right. Oh boy. I'm frozen right now because it's like one of those times. Okay.
I don't know what's going. Okay, I'll see if it freezes over here. Oh.
Okay, they got it. Okay.
They're back. They're all back on D now, but.
Yeah. Okay. We're out of the zone. Okay.
Okay, we can go back.
Real quick, just a couple things. This is the big thing. This is why we still hate Matt Klentak. Because imagine they dealt with the bullpen in the offseason. They have to wait. We probably are sitting in first place right now. And we're all very pumped up about the Phillies.
I'm pumped up about the Phillies.
We are, and you should be right now because they're playing good baseball. I've been in a group chat with a bunch of buddies for years, and we've all said, this team's very easy to like. They're very easy to enjoy, and when they're playing good baseball and smart baseball, it's fun. It's fun to see a guy like Roman Quinn actually being a contributor.
I haven't heard the term launch angle in a while. I like that. I appreciate that.
I love, what I loved about Roman Quinn the other day, he tracked down a ball in left center field where he was on his horse, and it was just and he got there and made it like an easy play. And I was like, man, that speed kills. As Prince Blue says, Jess is right. The bats are more consistent this year, and Kingery should not touch the starting lineup until he proves it can be consistent again. I can't argue that. I think right now you have something going with the guys that you've been playing.
Yeah.
And there's no reason to change that up. Little update for you. 5 minutes left in the game. 4-4. The Flyers are being outshot 36-17. Probably not good. They probably want to score soon if they're going to win this thing.
Thank you. But yeah, and I agree with Kingery. As much as I love Kingery and want him to do well, I just think that, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I think I also can appreciate. I feel like another thing that kind of has happened over the last couple seasons was I just feel like all of the wrong decisions were made, whether it be with someone's injury or what you're like, how they all share the same medical staff and they make the worst decisions possible when people get hurt. I think this was the right thing to do. If his back was bothering him and has been bothering him, try to let him figure it out. And I think that's how they need to keep addressing these things, especially this year. And I like what they're doing right now, and I hope it can continue. And
Prince, Prince, if this is the truth, put on anything but the Flyers right now. Put on Cobra Kai on Netflix. Put on anything, because there is not much better than a Game 7 NHL playoff, version. I'm really hoping for that at this point. And I'm hoping that. So please, Prince, I love you, man. Just I don't know, maybe there's something on Netflix. He said he's not watching. All right, we got it. But what is going on with Reese? And sometimes
all he had to do was play the Mets.
Yeah.
All he had to do was step up to the plate
and get some confidence.
The Mets. Done. Problem solved. And all of a sudden he's a new person and he looks confident again.
He does. He looks like he's seeing the ball. He had the other night where he was crushing the ball, and he had a great game. He was interviewed either before the game or after the game, I forget. And it was an overcast day, and he said, "I love overcast days because I can see the ball like beyond anything else." And it started right around there, and listen, all sports, I think confidence plays a major role.
For sure.
He was very low on confidence to begin this year, and he's starting to find it. Mm-hmm. And it's huge. I mean, having that other bat there is huge.
He got a haircut, shaved his mustache, played the Mets. He's a new person.
Philly fan PSU, your 2-year-old is not allowed to sleep. That is a direct doctor's order from the madness. Keep her up. And let's roll, baby. Let's roll. All right.
I'm making faces at my TV, and I'm going to go back and watch this and look like such an idiot. But I can't help it.
Fun to go back and watch this.
Oh
boy. So we only have let's go for another 10 or 15 minutes, and let's talk about the other sports story. Earlier today, it came out that the New Jersey Nets, or the Brooklyn
Where
Nets.
did that come from?
I'm from Jersey. I don't know. The Brooklyn Nets are hiring Steve Nash. Shortly thereafter that, John Johnson of WIP, who is one of the few guys there that I actually respect, I think he's in on things, reported that there's been a lot of hype about Ty Lue and the Sixers' mutual interest. Mm-hmm. John Johnson reports they're close to a deal. Then he came out and said nothing done yet. Listen, where there's smoke, there's fire. It could be that the Clippers are starting a series tonight, and there's no reason to have distractions, and it's a etiquette thing. The Sixers don't want to do that to the Clippers as they start a series. Although very valid.
Makes good points.
Yeah. And that's what I think happened. I respect for the Clippers because I believe this was probably the guy that they had pinned from the beginning.
Now the Sixers decided to have respect for a coach. Well, yeah. Now they decided to have some class in how they handle things. Okay.
Yeah. So Jess, we talked about Ty Lue last week, and neither of us were blown away by the idea of Ty Lue. So what I've done is over the last week, I've gone out, I've read some things about him, about his system, just to kind of get a feel, because it seemed like we were trending this way. So if we're looking for a positive, which I know is not my forte. I'm not a positive guy.
No, you're not.
But this comment from Philly fan PSU kind of gets to my first point. He gets respect from Joe and Ben, and that like this might have been a Joe and Ben guy. It seems like what I've read that Ty Lue around the entire league, players and coaches, is very well respected.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a positive thing to hang your hat on. I've also read that the reason the thing in Cleveland happened was Ty Lue may not necessarily be the guy to build from the ground up.
Sure.
He's more of a pieces are in place. We need to, get accountability. The one thing I will always say that you heard about Ty Lue was he got in LeBron's ass. Like he wasn't afraid to yell at LeBron. I mean, you heard that throughout their time in Cleveland together. And, for what it's worth, and I know he had LeBron, to come back in a NBA Finals from down 3-1 to that Golden State Warriors team, it's a pretty damn good accomplishment.
I still don't put any stock in that at all.
I mean,
No.
but see,
the momentum completely changed. That was when Draymond Green was suspended.
Fair. But
and so many different things happened. Like, I don't put any stock in that. But everything else you said, I completely agree with. Everyone wants to talk. Apparently the only guys in the room right now are Elton, Josh Harris, Ben, and Joel. And personally,
good.
I think that's how it should be.
Yeah.
A lot of people were responding to my tweets saying, oh, no, they shouldn't be. Why do they get a say? Why should they have a say? Well, they're the two guys that we need to be happy and working the hardest. So exactly that, if that's a guy that both of them want, and exactly what you said, yes, he was handpicked by LeBron in Cleveland.
Yes.
Handpicked by LeBron. And I'm not trying to say Ben or Joel are LeBron, but it's a players' league. He handpicked Frank Vogel. Anybody who has any sort of respect for their big stars at this point, they are going to have input on coaching hires. Why do you think Steve Nash just ended up getting the head coaching job of the Brooklyn Nets?
Right.
Because that's what KD and Kyrie
exactly, 100% correct.
That is what the league is now. Deal with it.
The franchise, as Princess said, the franchise guys are going to get a say. And damn it, listen, this is it now, right? You fired the coach. So it comes down to right now. So your two franchise guys have got to be on board with this person. So of course they're in the room. Of course they're in the room.
And especially with all the issues that they had, all the rumored issues and everything like that, like you want to put that crap behind you. You want to put all that to bed. You want a guy who's going to, Josh Richardson was the guy who came out and talked a lot about the lack of accountability.
Yep.
So you need somebody who your stars want, like, and respect. B, someone who is not going to baby them and be afraid to give it to them when they need it, right? And on top of that, additionally, again, not my first choice, right? And I
was just going to say, you took the words out of my mouth, yeah.
Yeah, still was not my first choice. I still don't put any stock in him winning an NBA championship at all, at all. I will be more than happy to be proven wrong, and I hope that if this is the hire they're making, I absolutely hope that he is the guy for the job and he's going to take them over the hump 150,000%, because I want nothing more than to see the Sixers win and succeed with Ben and Joel. But I also, I don't know if you saw, I forget what podcast Kevin Love was on, but he was talking about how he's so smart with the different schemes that he uses and his X's and O's. Like, he's much better than people realize there.
Yeah,
and even Doc Rivers, whose opinion I do trust, was like, I don't understand why he doesn't have a head coaching job in this league.
Yeah. And listen, he's a big X's and O's guys. He's apparently really good on the fly with making adjustments, which, let's face it, is something we really wanted, which is something that even me as a Brett Brown fan said Brett Brown had a system, and if it had to go outside of that system, it wasn't going to happen, and that was a major downfall to his coaching. And on top of all this, Tyronn Lue just spent a year under Doc Rivers, who is a tremendous coach in this league. So if this guy is what it sounds like he is, he's going to pick up some of that and bring it with him to whatever his next coaching job is, whether it's here in Philadelphia or not. And Jess, you said, and I'll say it, I'm not sitting here jumping for joy. This was not my first choice. This was not my second choice. But if what I read is correct, it's something that I sit back and say, hey, if this is who Joe and Ben want, if this is going to make them happy, If they are going to listen to him and be held accountable, then let's roll and let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Prince is saying they said he actually gave LeBron a scheme he hasn't played in since Miami. LeBron had no structure prior. So like I said, I do think he schemes. I don't think that he just rolls. At first I did until I went back and had a read. I thought this was a LeBron, you do what you got to do. But it sounds like he's got a scheme. He knows. And obviously, if you're coming here, if you're Elton Brand, your first question to any coaching candidate had to be, what are you going to do to get the most out of Joel and Ben together? That's got to be the first question.
If they hire him as the head coach of the Sixers, I think that at that first home game, he should go sit in front of the bell and let Allen Iverson step over him to ring the bell.
You're going to bury this man on his first day coaching here?
I think that would be phenomenal. And then here's this. And then if they're successful and they win an NBA championship, the following season's home opener, Allen Iverson sits in front of the bell and Ty Lue gets to step over him to ring the bell.
I'm in on it. You win a championship, you do whatever the hell you want. I don't care.
If he comes here as the coach and wins a championship, do you realize how iconic that photo will be?
Well, the day
it is, but like,
first of all, the day he gets hired, if you don't believe one of the Philadelphia newspapers, whether in their online or their print publication, do not put that picture in the newspaper, you're sadly mistaken. That's 100% going to happen. By the way, kept the team mentally down 3-1 to a 72-19. Just remember that one.
I would put stock in that more than the actual.
He can.
Listen, the mentality thing, so much.
Ty Lue can come punch me square in my grill. I will take it because I will be thrilled because this team will have finally done it.
I support that. I think that would be
another good one by our man Kylie Dream, who missed. He was so upset, Jess. He missed us live last week.
I know.
So upset. The Cavs team took the Warriors to 6 with LeBron and Scraps the year before Ty Lue took over and won the chip. But so he doesn't seem to be too high on the Ty Lue band.
I hope he is our Steve Kerr, Nick Nurse. Like that's what I hope.
I am glad it's a guy that's had some head coaching experience. I am glad that it's not like, all right, here's a project or and by the way, just showing the class and respect that this guy has. Obviously, my first choice I was very clear on was Jay Wright. What a class move by him to put that statement out there to just end all the speculation for everybody involved. I thought that was really cool, and the way he talked high about the Sixers, whereas I'm sure inside he's going, yeah, I don't
want to be a part of that crap show. That dumpster fire.
Oh boy. But listen, it's going to be interesting. There's going to be a lot to talk about going forward with the Sixers. If he's here though, they like to shoot threes. So you better get a guy in here. You better draft some 3-point shooters. You better do a ton.
I could shoot more threes than Furkan Korkmaz did in the playoffs.
If that guy's on the roster next year, I may not watch.
He has another year on his deal, so
I don't care. You kick his ass to the curb.
Equality Korkmaz will return.
Real quick, I'm sure Prince joined us late. What's with the Zach Ertz trade crap? And Prince, I really think it just comes down to people are trying to figure out what the Eagles' decision-making process here, that they offered him less money now than they did the last time they offered him a contract. And people are thinking that maybe they've already made a decision that at the end of the year that's going to be it. So, I don't know. I don't put much stock into maybe he's traded at the end of the year until we get there. But I would like the football season to start at this point. I don't know about you, Jess.
Yeah, I just let's go. Let's get it.
Jess, I know we haven't done this in a while, but we did this when we first did our few shows in the quarantine. What have you been watching non-sports wise, Jess?
I was just thinking about this the other day and I had something good to say and I don't recall what it is at this point.
And ladies and gentlemen, Jess has failed us in our return segment to what
Did you see timeout? Did you see that Carol Baskin is going to be on this season of Dancing with the Stars?
I wonder if she's going to bury her next husband under there.
I might watch it just to see what happens.
Yeah, she is an evil, 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 heinous woman. I hate
Just to see Carol Baskin like try to do a foxtrot. I'm gonna tune in because I think
I have not seen the list of
that.
Nancy
I
Duclos.
don't know who else is on the list, but I know Carol Baskin is.
Oh my God, that should be terrible. Well, I'm going to tell you, if you want to show that nostalgia is great, I don't really know if the show's actually good, but I'm hooked and I watched season 1 because they're only half-hour episodes and there's only 10 of them in 2 days. Cobra Kai on Netflix, baby. You want to go back to the 80s and go back to the days of Daniel Son and Johnny Lawrence and Cobra Kai and Mr. Miyagi's not in it because he is deceased, but he's referenced. It is so nostalgic. They do flashbacks to the old movies. It's all 80s rock. I have literally been listening to 80s rock in my car the last 2 days because that's all they play in the movie
That's amazing.
or the show. Like, I really hope that the Flyers game ends in 1 overtime so I could go get a couple episodes in before bedtime for me. Go check out Cobra Kai on Netflix. It's ridiculous. And, Jess, as a Disney fan, will you be watching The Real Mulan tomorrow?
No.
Why not?
Because I'm not going to pay $30 for that.
No. Oh, you don't have Disney Plus?
I do have Disney Plus, but isn't it still like extra money on Disney Plus?
I don't know.
I think you have to pay extra for it. That's how they're making money on it.
It's free. Would you watch it right now?
No.
No, you're not into this one, huh?
I don't like the live movies.
What's wrong with you?
They really upset me greatly because I don't like it. I don't like it. We've talked about this. The only one that I liked was The Lion King. And that's because they're not, it was all CGI. Okay. I went to see Beauty and the Beast and I did not like it. I thought the casting was horrid. Poor casting all the way across the board. And I didn't go see Aladdin because I don't want it to ruin it for me. I didn't go see Cinderella. I didn't go see Maleficent.
Gad was not miscasted.
What?
Josh Gad was not miscasted.
Okay, he's the
No
only.
way. That's false. That's a falsity, man.
I heard it was terrible.
No, you
No.
would love
Aladdin is one of like my top 3 Disney movies. I'm not gonna go watch that. If they really do a Little Mermaid, catch me nowhere near that. That's my favorite movie of all time.
Yes.
I will not go see that because they ruin it. They ruin it. They add things that don't need to be there. Exactly that. The animated version.
I'm not saying it can be
There's not going to be a Mushu in the Mulan. You trying to sell me Mulan with no Mushu?
I'll be honest. I don't know if I've ever actually watched a cartoon of Mulan from beginning to end. So I don't think I've ever watched a cartoon of Mulan from beginning to end.
Well, that's a crime, and you should probably go do that.
This is a crime. Never seen either one.
That is also a crime. But okay, you have no room to talk because you just told me you haven't seen Mulan. So
Aladdin and Mulan are very different in the scale of
no.
films.
Everyone wants to talk about how Disney princesses give women unrealistic expectations for girls, teach you that you need a man to save you, this, that, and the other thing. Mulan saves her own damn self. The man and all of China. Go watch.
This is why you would like The Real Aladdin, because they take Jasmine's character and make her way more of an empowering woman than they do
That's fine. I don't want to watch it. I'm not going to watch it. It's not going to happen. Go watch Mulan and get your daughters to watch Mulan, please. That's more important, is them watching Mulan.
My daughters, as I've told you, are 5 going on 18, and all they want to watch is teeny bopper crap. Or go super young and make me watch that idiot Blippi every damn day of my life. Who's Blippi?
What is that?
Do yourself a favor if you want to hate life.
Okay.
And on Amazon Prime,
Sure.
just search Blippi. Just watch 3 minutes of one of his episodes. He's a YouTube sensation who the girls found and the girls love, and the girls are going to end my life because I have to watch freaking Blippi as much. Thank God they're going back to school, man, and thank God I am, because I've had enough Blippi for a lifetime. All right, we've spent the last 10 minutes totally just going off the rails. Yeah, Blippi should be blocked everywhere. As 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 my cousin once said, you may be watching Blippi on World News Tonight one night and not for anything positive. Watch it, make your own decisions. You tell me. Jess, we will listen, stay tuned during the week. We'll let you know when we are going to come on air next week. We'll have to discuss it. We got some fun things happening. There's actually an animated logo of us being made right now, Jess.
Oh boy.
It'll be interesting. Might be something new for us going there that we could put on some merch. Make sure you're following Jess at Run This Town 13. Babes on Broad is almost ready to come back. Make sure you're following those girls over there doing a great job. Jess and Sam Wilson. Obviously, I'm at Philly_Madness. Party on Broad. We're going to be doing a lot more Eagles stuff now as we get closer to the beginning of the season. They're doing a lot of draft stuff over there as well for the Sixers, breaking down guys. We got Tiago, who is all over the draft. Austin, who's all over the draft. Dives. All three guys are all over it. Austin. No.
Yes.
We're not going there. We are not. We're trying to end the show.
Yes.
We're trying to end the show, and we got to bring Tatum into it. All right. Well, Jess, it was fun. Thank you to our favorite man of all time, Trey Thomas, for joining the show in the beginning.
I'll have to send that man some tequila.
Yeah. And hopefully one day we'll be able to do shots with him again. But until next week, have a good week. Stay safe. Embrace the man.